The video provides an explanation of multiple exercises focusing on the use of various commands within a drawing software. These exercises aim to teach how to manipulate lines, dimensions, and patterns using different techniques such as offsets, chamfers, and polar coordinates. Emphasis on the geometric relationship and mathematical operations to achieve desired angles and patterns.
So, moving on in our course, now we're going to do our fourth exercise where we're going to see a couple of new commands. The XY axis dimension, the parallel, that is a restriction to reference new lines, and the command offset. Well, to start our drawing, we'll open the new drawing environment, and I'll let a reference image on the right side of the window, just as always. Then we select the feature Arc Circle over here, and create our first circle from the origin point with a diameter of 150. As we already saw in previous videos, the software standard is always to ask the diameter value and not the radius value. To change that, we click in Type, and then we select the option Show Radius Values to set the radius value as standard in this file. After that, we'll select the command Arc Circle, and create a circle also from the origin point with a radius value of 30. Now we can see that the dimensions show the radius values and not the diameter values because we changed the type configuration. Continuing with our drawing, we click in the command Multiple Line and use the Osnap point quadrant to select the right quadrant of the circle to start our line. Then we set the orientations with the mouse and type the line value of 25 to do our lines. Now, to do this line, we can use the option Parallel to set our orientation using an already made line as a reference. And to reference the line length, we use the endpoint of the reference line. We'll do the same procedure on the other lines. Okay guys, now for the sloping lines we're going to use the command XY dimension. First, we draw the line without typing any dimension. Then we click in Finish to create the dimensions, and in the dimensions creation, we'll select the option XY axis, creating two dimensions, one the x-axis and the other in the y-axis, instead of asking the line length and its angle, which can sometimes be unknown. After that, we select the geometry we're going to use in the mirror operation and click in the command Mirror. Select the endpoint in the upper part of the geometry and the center point of the circle to reference the center of the mirror operation. After finishing the mirror, we go to the command Line Partial Erase to delete some circle lines that are not part of our drawing. To do our offset command in the whole geometry, we open the feature Profile Operation and select the type as closed, and in Options we select the option Offset. Then we click in any line of the drawing, give the orientation with the mouse, and type the distance of 5 and finish the operation. To finish our exercise, we create a double center line in the center of the circles, and we create the missing dimensions with the command Line Dimension or Point Dimension to make the drawing dimensions exactly like the reference image. So, moving on in our course, we're now going to do our fifth exercise. In this exercise, we're going to learn a little bit more about the commands multiple lines, dimensions, XY axis, and we'll also learn the commands chamfer and linear pattern. We'll continue to use the new drawing environment and start our drawing with the command multiple lines from the origin point and giving the direction of the line with the mouse. Alright, we'll begin with the bottom part of the drawing, and we won't draw the chamfer for now because we use a new feature later to do them. So, as you can see, we do this horizontal line here with the length of 10, then 30 vertically, and we keep drawing our geometry until we get to the upper part of the geometry. After that, we click in Finish and confirm the dimension values. I deleted a couple of dimensions to have a better view of the geometry. Now, we're going to use the command chamfer, in which we select the first line and then we type its length value, which is 5 in this case. Then we select the second line and also give its length value, and the chamfer will be made. We press Enter to reopen the command and create the chamfer in the upper part of the drawing. We'll follow the same steps. The only difference will be the values. Here we have the height of 10 and length of 5. Continuing the drawing, we go to the pattern we have in the right part of the drawing. We'll draw a couple reference lines first. Then we'll draw a line with the length of 3 in the horizontal orientation, and then a line in the vertical orientation, and again a line in horizontal orientation. Then we draw the sloping lines. Now, using the command rectangular pattern, we'll replicate the sloping lines geometry. To do that, we select the geometry we want to replicate, the path distance, and the number of replications we want. You can set the number of replications either in the x-axis, y-axis, or both axes. In our case, we'll use the distance of 6 in the y-axis with 7 replications. We use the angle of 180 to invert the orientation of the replication. Now, we just click in OK to create the geometry. We're almost done. Now we finish our drawing using the commands multiple lines and chamfer. We also create the dimensions and edit the pattern dimension by double-clicking in the dimension, selecting Options, and filling the box Text with the desired text. Then we just click in OK. That's it. Back. Continuing with our course, now we're going to do our 6th exercise. In this exercise, we'll work with angles and polar coordinates. So first, let's find out what polar coordinates are in a 2D plane. Basically, a polar coordinate is an axis spinning around a center point that we call a pole. We define the angle by rotating the axis from 0 degrees to 360 degrees around the pole. When it comes to polar coordinates, we need to understand that there are 4 quadrants in a circle, representing 1/4 of the geometry. And rotating our polar axis in the counterclockwise direction, we'll have the first quadrant from 0 to 90 degrees, the second quadrant from 90 degrees to 180 degrees, the third quadrant from 180 degrees to 270 degrees, and the fourth quadrant from 270 degrees to 360 degrees. The same point is 0 degrees. Now, starting our exercise, we'll open the environment New Drawing. Just as always, I'll leave a reference image on the right side of the window. Then we select the command Multiple Lines and start our geometry. We'll draw the first line with the length of 30, and then we'll do our first line using a polar coordinate. In this case, we use the line of 180 degrees as reference and create a line of 60 degrees from it. To do that, we open the parentheses and do the math operation 180 degrees plus 60 degrees and close the parentheses. Then we press OK, and after that we type the line length of 30. For the next line, we'll use the line of 360 degrees as reference and do the math operation 360 minus 60, getting the angle of 300 degrees. Then we type the line length of 30 as well. We'll keep doing these angle operations until we finish half of our star geometry. After drawing all the lines, we click in Finish, and then we give positions and confirm the dimensions. Then, using the command Mirror, we create the other half of the geometry. Now we select the command Profile Operation and select the type as Closed, and in Options we select Offset. Now, using a reference line, we set the distance of 5 for the offset operation. Finishing our drawing, we create a couple more dimensions to set the drawing just like the reference image.